Welcome to our show and trading day, the 16th of April, 2020. We're going to see what we did, what our positions are at, what our portfolio is valued at. I'm really curious to see how we're doing.
You have a smile on your face. You have some good news to share?
Absolutely none.
Oh, yeah, I didn't do anything last night. I looked around for a little bit and then I just fell asleep. It's kind of funny the way we trade, where like most people spend the whole thing. Actually, I'm really glad that we only have an hour, so like hour, 2 hours max to really like look at the market. Like we can spend the whole day looking at it.
Yeah, so I did exactly the same thing. I just watched my portfolio, checked out SPY a bit, checked out these other companies and said, well, it's not moving enough for me to do anything. So just left it as it is.
Ah,
Okay, so where are you at?
I most likely went down a little bit. I think Zoom went down a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. Ooh, big dip. Wow. 4.194.
Okay, that's not so bad. Actually, yeah, it is. That's like 19% from your previous value. So let me give you an update on where I am. I'm going to open my app right now and see.
Ooh.
Wow, I am at 861.84. So
Oh, that's
$861. And it's a little bit strange though, because when I checked my app at the beginning of trading, I was down just maybe 10% or something like that. I was in the 590s. And now when I look at it, I had like a nice little jump from the previous day. And I don't know how that happened. So in fact, it looks like it just, sorry, like flat lines. I'm not sure if you can see that.
hmm
I'll try and take a screenshot. But then at the end of the day, it jumps up because the whole day, that flat line is around $560. And then something at the end of the day caused it to jump up. And I think this is something to do with after hours trading. And I'm not sure what it is or why it jumped so significantly. So I'm going to have to look into this and figure out why I got this huge jump at the end of the day.
Yeah, I really do think that the only explanation. Well, let me look further into it. I think that it probably incorporates after hours movements, because like Zoom is down 5% after hours.
Right.
Like that's a huge dip. So that's probably reflected in my net liquidation value. But
Right.
on my app, it says Zoom only went down $100. Like my option price only went down 0.75, like
Right.
75 cents. But realistically, it's probably gone down to like 16, something like that. So I think that's the discrepancy. So here's the confusion.
Okay.
I hope I've been giving you the right numbers every single time. My Interactive Brokers homepage says I'm at 4859. But my
Oh,
portfolio tab says 4.194. So let me go and redo. I think this NLV is
yeah,
incorporating hours trading.
I see. So you can adjust the numbers based upon the right
I'll go
timing.
and do all the numbers based on
Okay.
this.
Well, I'm pleased to see that this jumped up quite a bit. That's pretty exciting for me, and it looks like it all might be this Starbucks call that I have, and it
Okay?
seems like it jumped up massively after hours.
Hmm.
So I have these two Starbucks calls, and they are 75.50 strike price calls. And Starbucks went up to 78.07 yesterday, right at the very end of the day. It just took a huge jump. My Starbucks
Oh,
call has gone up in value very nicely. In fact, today's return is 400%, and
wow.
the total return on that call is 213%, as of
Amazing.
end of day trading
And it expires when?
today, 417, or basically the
Wow.
next trading day. So it's gone into the money by a couple dollars, and now it's jumped up in value. Whereas yesterday, this was worth 33 cents, and now
Hmm.
it is worth $2.10 because it
Amazing.
crossed into the money. So
Yeah.
that's where a whole bunch of my value came from yesterday, is
Mhm.
that option crossing over into the money and the expiry being so soon.
Like, so we didn't really do too much last night, although there's some nice movement. So congratulations on the gains. Um, yeah, one thing that I was looking at before this call was, did you see on Wall Street Bets this guy that made like a lot of money on Amazon calls?
Yes, I have such
It's really
FOMO.
amazing. FOMO, I know.
Because if we zoom back and think about it, of course, like Amazon is the one company that's going to do amazingly well in this pandemic. So two companies that you can think of off the top of your head. It's like, what companies are going to do super well? Well, home entertainment, Netflix, and home
Yeah.
delivery, Amazon. Everyone else, every retail store, location, whatnot that doesn't do like essential delivery, essential things, should fall in value. And
Right.
so these two should have been like the most brainless, obvious buys during this time. And I can't believe I didn't see it. And I was literally in the shower this morning just being like, why did I not think about this at all? Where was my head at?
In the shower.
It was a little bit soapy,
Yeah.
very foggy.
Yeah, it's very interesting because it just shows you that. I guess I didn't think about getting Amazon because I didn't see too much movement with it.
Yeah.
You
But,
know?
but this is such a false flag, right? It's like what I believe is we're just chasing after money that's already been made or
Yeah.
lost, right? As in, we see these big movements and we're like, duh, of course that's correct. And of course, hindsight 2020 completely. But this is a game about looking in the future and making educated guesses on who's going to do well and who's going to do poorly based upon the macro situation. And
Yeah.
I don't know why we're not kind of doing a little bit of that analysis. Like,
Yeah.
given current macro trends, who is going to do really well and who's going to do poorly? Well, let's bet on that.
Yeah.
And it's kind of obvious too. You're like, okay, well, airlines, travel companies, they're going to all do badly. I should buy puts. But right now, what's happened is the market's going up, like it's green, and so you just think this is completely wrong. And now I'm only betting on the entire market going down again. Whereas
Yeah.
we're not thinking on a more individual basis, who are the winners going to be, and who are the big winners going to be, who are the big losers going to be. And the entire market encompasses both of these sides. And sometimes maybe we shouldn't be playing the entire market.
Should not be playing the entire market.
Yeah.
Or we should be, meaning buying the ones that we think are going to rise, bet
Right.
on the ones that we think are going to lose.
And
Yeah.
sometimes, yeah, it makes sense to play the entire market because you don't know who's going to win or lose, but there's something in the world that's happening that will have a large effect on everything. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So it's been a crazy couple weeks for us.
Yeah, it's super, super good learning experience. Still have 2.5 months to make 100K.
That's right.
What a story that would be.
Well, and it's possible because you look at what
yeah.
this guy has done on just these one calls, and he's made how many percent? Almost, I mean, hundreds of percent, right? I think he went from, so I think he 10x'd his return, if I'm not wrong, somewhere around that level. And so it really is possible to get up to 100K in 2 months. You just need to 10x things twice.
That's right. Wow. Look at this. He bought Amazon 2,170 calls on April 8th for 30K. 5 days later, April 13th, he sold them for 90K.
Oh, so he 3x'd his value in literally 3 days. And then he rebought in.
Why didn't he just hold it?
From reading the post, if I remember, he wanted to extract the initial investment that he did.
Oh, he wanted to get some gains out of it, some profit out of it, basically. Yeah, then look at this. He bought Amazon 2,300 call, May 8th, on April 13th for $50,000. And the following day, one day, he sold over 153.
Oh my goodness.
And then he bought again on April 14th, 2630 call, $150,000. This guy's just he's paying a lot for these calls, but they're just still going up. Like he's not like waiting for he's not trying to time the call.
Right.
It's just it's interesting. Maybe it makes me think that maybe we're putting too much stock into like timing it so we're getting it at a good price. It's more like if you have the direction, if you think you know what the direction is going to be over the next 3 days, and your expiry date is far out enough, just buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. Do you know what I mean? I think that I'm overthinking. Like, I was like, oh no, like, things are green, so I'm not going to buy a call today. It's more like, okay, within the next 3 days, things are going to be green. Yes, then buy it.
Right.
Because we're all loading up on puts for this like day when everything crashes. But instead of that day, maybe just think really short term, which is kind of what you're doing.
Yeah, this is why I bought both sides, which is why I figured that the SPY would move in the next 10 days, plus or minus $10, right? I needed to move 10 or 5% at a minimum, and hopefully it moves 10%. So yesterday it moved almost 0%. It went up, it went down, and basically no gain, no loss. For me, I needed to move one way or the other. And then I will sell as soon as I cross the 100% threshold. Really, I'm targeting 120% for that. And I think that's a really interesting strategy. Because you look at this guy, like he's getting 3x his value in one day, right? Yeah. So even there, it's that you must believe that the stock is going to move enough that you can get over 100% of your value, and then you can hedge both ways if you really wanted to, because it goes down by 3x, or it goes up by 3x if you bought both calls and puts. Well, you're going to make money, and that's the fundamental strategy of a straddle, right? You like limit your losses, and the only time you lose is if the stock doesn't move and it stays within the trading range pretty narrowly. And I feel like right now that the stock market is volatile enough that if you buy both sides, you can't lose, if that makes sense. I mean, you definitely can. Like, things can get stable, like the implied volatility goes all the way down and everything just like calms down over the next, say, 30 days. It's kind of crazy. I wish I had thought of this kind of strategy much earlier, because if, for instance, I had purchased $5,000 worth of calls and $5,000 worth of puts right at the beginning, the puts would be absolutely worthless, which they are, but the calls would now be worth I don't know how many times, and I'd be curious to look up what that is.
I'll think about that.
Yeah, but thinking about it for the future, when we know that there's going to be a lot of volatility in, say, a particular stock, it could be an interesting strategy to just buy both sides.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is a sound strategy, though. Obviously, there's probably lots of losers that use this strategy to buy.
But you know what's amazing, Z? This guy did it in 1 week.
Yeah.
I think he does the same. Started on April 8th.
That's insane.
We can do it. We can start right now.
So one other interesting thing that I was reading about yesterday, or hearing about, I don't remember where I got it from, but what I found really interesting is, why is the stock market going up when there's so much bad news in the world? And when we look at the money printer and how does that work, it is like goods, services right now are not increasing in price. And what you would expect by pumping like $2 trillion or worldwide more than that into the economy is that you would expect that inflation would hit pretty soon. Prices go up, the value of the dollar goes down. And what we're seeing, though, is not that case, because where all this money is going is in loans to big corporations, right? So effectively, what someone was saying this is doing is it is causing inflation only in the stock price of companies. And it's not causing inflation in the broader economy because there's no more dollars on the streets right now. There's only dollars in companies in their ability to service their debts or to get more debt right now just to stay above water, right? But what this does is then it inflates the value of the stock itself. Wherever I was seeing this was saying that is where you're seeing the rise in the stock market price. Is the actual price of the stock is not going up, it's being inflated.
Okay.
So it's worth less, but on paper it's worth more, right? And we see that, say it's like a 20% inflation. And so then will we see a big crash, like what you would expect? And the answer is maybe not, because all of this money, trillions of dollars, are just out there now in the balance sheets of companies. And well, it's going to stay there for now. And the companies have years and years to pay this back. And maybe some of it will even be forgiven because it's US debt, right? Super competitive terms, better than any other you could get for a lot of these big companies. And in which case, well, the stock price is going to stabilize or continue to go up or not move much. But the companies will not fall much in stock price. So potentially this big drop that we're thinking could happen in the near future in the stock prices, like in the entire index, is probably not going to happen. And I don't know if that reasoning is sound, but it was really a compelling thing for me to read and to think about that. Well, stocks only go up.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, that makes me think that maybe tonight what I'll do is that I have like almost all my entire portfolio in these two calls on Zoom.
Yeah.
I have like $100 left. I'm wondering whether I should just dedicate that $150, $163 that I have in cash, just blind bullishness. Just trade a lot the next couple of days. Buy, sell, buy, sell, buy, sell. You know what I mean? Like I may do something like that. It's not a lot of money, and most of my funds are stuck here anyway, so in the Zooms. So I think I'm going to try that tonight. It's going to be very expensive because the market is flying now.
Yeah.
But buy it anyway.
Right.
Unless you think, the big question is like after this weekend, Monday, right? Because maybe we would aim to sell on Monday. Do we think there's going to be a slight, maybe the goal is like, okay, buy today. What do you think Monday is going to be like?
Right.
That's how I'm going to think about it.
Okay. So I have this SBUX call that I have to sell today. All of my other 417 puts and calls are completely worthless, and they'll expire. So a lot of my positions are going to expire today, and I should end up with a couple $100 in my account at the end or at the beginning of trading today. Hopefully, fingers crossed. And then I as well am going to plan the next move. I don't know what I'm going to do, but given this kind of this thought about inflation and ability of companies to be able to prop up their balance sheets with so much easy, free-ish debt, I'm reversing kind of my position on just like being so bearish. Like the world itself, you saw two critical events yesterday. One, New York is on lockdown for minimum until May 15th. So they extended the deadline. And then two, jobless claims came out. For the 4-day week, it was 5.2 million new jobless claims. If it was 5-day, it'd be 6 million jobless claims, right? And the market didn't blink at all. 4 sustained weeks of millions of new jobless people that have lost their jobs. Like, what is running the economy? It's people's ability to be able to spend, and yet the stocks are going up. So these two events tell me that, like, where the most money is to be made someplace like New York, being on sustained lockdown and continuing to have people lose their jobs, and that not affecting where the stock price is going, well, then what can, right? I mean, certainly there's things that can, war breaks out or something like that, but there's not a lot else that can be bad news.
Yeah.
It could be the infection rates increase a little bit. No one's going to care. Death rate, pretty steady. Jobless claims, stuck at 5 million or 6 million a week. Quarantine extended for months at a time.
No one cares.
No one cares.
Yeah, it's shifting from this state of feeling incredulous at what the market is doing and just becoming opportunistic about what it's doing.
Yeah.
I think that's the change in mindset that we both need to have.
I think it's a good way to think about it, and to shift from thinking about the past a little bit to thinking who the winners out of this are going to be regardless. I think this is important for an important mindset for me as well.
Yeah. But everybody on Reddit's going to Amazon call tonight.
Everybody on Reddit is going to Amazon call tonight. It's true.
That is the update for today.
Thank you for watching our show. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you and see if we're doing things in a stupid way or we should be doing things in a better way. We have been getting a couple comments and they're all spam, so I'd love to hear from someone besides spam.
Great. Well, thanks again, and talk to you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow.